Hi folks, this is class number 5, Hebrew for All. With my system, you're going to be able to learn how to read, write, and speak Hebrew effectively, and you're going to make yourself an independent learner of the Hebrew language, contributing on a day-by-day basis to your growth in Hebrew as you so choose. So, what we're going to do is first take you back to sheet 0.2, which is where we were at the end of the last class, and I'm going to give you some of the definitions of the words. And as I often make the suggestion to people, maybe you should pause and just practice the four forms of the present tense once again to make sure that you're on target without putting in the vowels. They would be, number 1, koneh, kona, konim, konot. Number 2, rotzeh, rotzah, rotzim, rotzot. Number 3, ro'eh, ro'ah, ro'im, ro'ot. Number 4, it's a shin. Remember that. Without any vowels in there, it's always assumed to be a shin. Shoteh, shotah, shotim, shotot. 5, boneh. 6, bocheh. And the definitions. Koneh is buy, purchase. Number 2, rotzeh is want. Number 3, ro'eh, see with your eyes. Shoteh, drink. Boneh, build. And bocheh, cry. Okay, so we have two different patterns, two very distinct patterns. We have the granddaddy of all Hebrew verbs, which was presented on 0.1, shomer, shomeret, shomrim, shomrot. Those are the four forms of the present tense: masculine singular, feminine singular, masculine plural, and feminine plural. And now this one that you're looking at on the board in front of you, koneh, koneh, kona, konim, konot. Okay? Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is a concept of agreement. And what I'm referring to is that since we now have, as it were, the ani chart, and we also have the two different verb patterns that we've learned, we can now together start to really create phrases that are the beginning of sentences. So let's take a look over here at number 1, which will be our first example of the agreement that I was talking about. So everybody, how do you say they? And if you know your knee chart and you know it by heart, and you can pause if you like, you have to know it by heart. I'm just going to remind people, because I want you to hear the way I do this. Ani, ata, at, hu, he, anachnu, atem, aten, hem, hen. I've got that chart, and hence, when I say, how do you say they in Hebrew? There it is, folks. Hem. Now, I'm assuming that they is masculine plural. It could have been feminine plural. If you look at my sheets, you'll see that when I want you to go other than masculine and singular, I write it in on the sheet. As, for example, in 4, where the word, in the parentheses, the letters FS stand for feminine and singular. So that word heim, which we're looking together at on the board, that means they. There is no verb for the verb to be in English in the Hebrew language. It's understood. Hence, we're going to skip that. We're not going to try even to translate it. And we're going to instead go straight to the verb, and we're going to, according to this principle that I'm calling agreement, we're going to write down shomrim. Hem shomrim. And it means, and listen carefully, they are guarding or they guard. It's not simply they guard. It's not simply they are guarding. It's either or both of them. However you want to translate it into English, that's most convenient for you. Now, agreement could be made obvious to you by my then writing another word for they. It's not the answer that I was looking for on the sheet, but to teach the concept of agreement. Hen, which is they, it happens to be feminine plural they, If I need the verb for guard or guarding, it will be shomrot. So there it is. There is that concept of agreement. Hem shomrim. Hem, since it's referring to they, masculine and plural, I need the form of the verb, that's the word shomrim, that reflects masculine plural. And the same thing with hen, feminine plural, and then the verb form, feminine plural. And so forth and so down on the page. So we've done number 1. Let's look at number 3, which is a little bit different. She sees. It's very distinct. She can only be one word. It is he. So I always smile a little bit when I say that, because he is she, and who is he, or who is he, and he is she. Play on the differences between those words, between Hebrew and English. But he, that's the right word in Hebrew. He. Put in the dot just to be perfectly clear. Not necessary, but to be clear. And then I want to say sees. It could be she is seeing. Identical. I would write like this, unvowelized. And if I was presenting this to the teacher, that could be me, to show you that I've done the assignment, I would expect, if I was presenting to the teacher and I wanted to show the teacher, I really know how to read that word correctly, even though it's a little vague without any vowels on it, so I could put in a T-bar vowel underneath the aleph, and there it is. He ro'ah. And that's the beginning of our creating phrases, and you can work up and down the page. There is nothing different on the page than this particular concept. So you could enjoy it, practice it. The words, I think for the most part, there could be a couple exceptions, are all words that you've had on prior sheets. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure learning with you.